Of the top 10 oil class, and today we are going to talk about the 3 ways to use essential oils. So in a class I would talk about 3 cool things that I like about oils, and so we talked about that yesterday, and then today I'm going to talk about 3 ways to use the oils. So let me just flip this around and show you what I would show you in a class. All right. So in a class, I would talk about how to use the essential oils aromatically, topically, and internally. So that's the first thing we would do. And I would kind of go into some detail. So first one would be, this one. So we talk about how to use the oils topically, so that's on the skin. And I like to show this little slide because it talks about where on the body you can use it, which pretty much you could use it anywhere. Then I kind of give the example of where I have used the oils. And then, talk about aromatically. So I myself have used the oils all of these ways. And then we talk about internally. So I also like to show in a class the labels of different oils and oil blends to show you which ones you can ingest and which ones you cannot. So that's what I do there. And yeah, so that was kind of part 2 of a class. We would go over the 3 different ways to use the oils. And then I would definitely give examples of how I personally use them in all 3 of the ways, and kind of my story again, because I think it's important that people know that you don't necessarily have to use the oils all 3 ways every single day immediately when you first get them, or you might be thinking you only know one way to use them. So it's kind of cool to hear about the different ways. So my story, I started using the oils topically. I had knee surgery about 15 plus years ago, ACL surgery, and I always have a stiffness in my knee if I sit for too long. And so what I had found that I was needing was a knee sleeve or a knee brace when I taught classes. And so I told my friend that, and she was using doTERRA, and she suggested to me to use Deep Blue oil, and just kind of described it as similar as, using an A535 rub or that sort of thing you would put on to relax the muscles. Now, I knew my situation wasn't necessarily muscle. I know it was ligament, and I know that it was an issue in the joints, but I gave it a try, and it didn't really work. I didn't find it worked, and that's okay, because that happens. So she suggested trying frankincense, because that is king of oils in terms of anti-inflammatory properties. And so made up a roller ball of that, and I was putting that on my knee after showers, before classes, and all that good stuff. Did it for a week, and realized after that week that or about 2 weeks, realized that I had not been using my knee sleeve for class. And I was wearing that every time I taught, because I was teaching at least 6 Zumba classes a week, like a lot of impact and cardio. So it was kind of cool that way that I realized I wasn't using it. And so the oil was helping. That's my topical story, and it's pretty much kind of what got me started changing things around in my lifestyle in terms of natural health versus toxic over-the-counter stuff. And then I got into it aromatically, I would say, would be my next movement in, because I was starting to like the way certain things smelled. I started to use the diffuser more. I was using the diffuser mostly for what do you want to call it? When you're getting sick, or you feel there's sickness in the air, and so you start taking echinacea and vitamin C, and you kind of try to be preemptive of it. That's what I was using the diffuser for. So I would put On Guard in the diffuser. I would put Easy Air Breathe, so that, because it gets dry in my house type idea. And my granddaughter was coming over all the time, and so she's in junior kindergarten, so their kids get sick all the time. So I was kind of being preemptive and having that piping through the house at all times. Then I started making my own personal Febreze instead of using like the toxic stuff that from the store, because of my fitness clothes needing to always be freshened, because I would teach at least 2-3 times a day, and if I didn't get laundry done every single day, sometimes the clothes would have to sit wet, right? So that was kind of the next thing. I started using oils on diffuser jewelry, and I got a car diffuser as well, because I was, driving around a bit, and my cars are always old, because they're old, because that's what I can afford. So I started using it aromatically that way. And then I would say internal would be like the last way I started using it. So I told that story yesterday about the vitamins, using natural vitamins instead of over the counter, putting some drops of citrus oils into water, definitely putting it into some of the cooking. Like I put it in my free smoothies. I put we have the basics. We have, spices. We have ginger. We have oregano. All those kind of ones we use when we cook as well. So you end up using them in so many ways, and that's what's kind of cool about them. So you don't have to buy 10 different things. But anyway, that's what we would do kind of the second round in the class. After we talked about the 3 cool things about oils, we talked about the 3 ways you can use them. So yeah, I just share that part with you, and I'll be back on tomorrow with another part.